What seemed impossible more than a decade ago for a developing nation like the Philippines is now a reality. This is because of the decisiveness of all to work together towards a PCB-free Philippines. The call for global action to ban the use of polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs, began in the late 70s. However, it was only in May 2001 in Stockholm, Sweden, that this was finally formalized, when over 100 countries signed the Stockholm Convention towards the global elimination of PCBs and other persistent organic pollutants, or POPs. PCB is a synthetic chemical used for industrial and commercial purposes, mainly as a dielectric fluid in transformers and capacitors, but also in voltage regulators and circuit breaker. Extensive scientific researches have found PCBs to be toxic, bioaccumulative, and persistent. These have been detected in the most urbanized areas to the least populated regions of the Arctic, proving their ability to travel long distances far from their origin. PCB production may have been banned beginning late 70s, but they persist in our environment and are linked to chronic reproductive effects, gastric disorders, and skin lesions. PCBs are suspected human carcinogen. The Philippine government, through the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Environmental Management Bureau, or DENR-EMB, can be lauded in taking steps to address this serious environmental and health problem.
Polychlorinated biphenyls is a major concern in the Philippines. In fact, even before the Stockholm Convention, the Philippines already issued a chemical control order mandating the phasing out of PCB by 2014.
In fact, Republic Act 6969, pertaining to the control of toxic substances and hazardous and nuclear wastes, was in existence since 1990, yet there was growing public concern.
Public interest groups have long been concerned with our country's lack of capacity to manage hazardous waste in a way that will not further damage environmental integrity and jeopardize the health of our people, especially the most vulnerable groups such as the children, women of childbearing age, the elderly, peasants, and workers, including informal recyclers. Knowing how toxic these chemicals are, we do not want PCBs to end up in our rivers, junk shops, used oil recycling centers, landfills, cement kilns, or incinerators.
However, in dealing with toxic wastes, industries have no other recourse but to export their PCB waste for incineration. The Global Environment Facility, or GEF, provided the much-needed financial assistance to developing nations like the Philippines to comply with their obligations under the Stockholm Convention.
The official inventory is 2,028 metric tons of PCB oil and equipment. Now, this is more than enough to meet the required 1,500 metric tons. The EMB, however, is continuously conducting inspection and verification to identify possible other sources of PCB, which will eventually be treated in this PCB non-com facility.
Non-combustion technologies for the destruction of POPs are so far being used only by developed countries like the United States, Canada, and Japan. In December 2007, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, or UNIDO, as implementing agency, and the Philippine government through the DENR-EMB as lead agency, in partnership with the Philippine National Oil Company, Alternative Fuels Corporation, or PNOC-AFC, and various non-government organizations, or NGOs, launched the Philippine Non-Com POPs project.
The facility should be able to comply with all environmental regulations, the Philippine Environmental Impact Statement System, the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, RA 6969, which deals with toxic substances and hazardous wastes.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Philippines government for the strong political and financial support that has been given to this project. It is the first project in Southeast Asia, and it's expected that the project will attract some other countries to come and learn and replicate this kind of projects in their own countries.
The stakeholders agreed that the technology of choice should not involve combustion and must not produce dioxin or other POPs, must operate in an essentially closed system, has a destruction efficiency of nearly 100%. It should be a BAT-BEP, one of the best available techniques, best environmental practices, as specified in the Stockholm Convention. A sodium-based chemical destruction technology involving dechlorination was chosen based on the terms of reference approved by the Philippine government and using UNIDO's procurement rules and regulations. The contract was awarded to the Philippine-based IPM Construction and Development Corporation, a licensee of Kinectrix, the technology provider and developer, which has supplied its base country, Canada, with this technology for more than 20 years.
The PCB destruction technology being implemented here in the Philippines was originally developed in Canada in the mid-late 1980s. So the basic technology is based on the destruction of the PCBs with metallic sodium. And what it does is convert the PCBs into benign type chemicals like sodium chloride and polyphenol. And able to destroy the PCBs effectively to meet the 6 nines or 99.999% destruction efficiency, but also is able to recover the oil and be reusable in transformers.
The non-com POPs destruction facility will be operated by qualified personnel of PNOC-AFC after having undergone rigorous training with Kinectrix.
In terms of transferring technologies from one country to the next, it's vital to transfer the knowledge of how the system works to the country and pass on all our safety technology and safety training. We have extensive training program that covers right from the safety all the way through the operations. People know how to operate down to the basic control points of the plant with a detailed understanding of how our system works.
Crucial to the project is where to locate the facility. The site chosen was in the 530-hectare property of PNOC-AFC, an industrial estate located in the province of Bataan. The PNOC-AFC Industrial Park is a fully integrated industrial complex that caters to petrochemical-related plants, co-located and interacting with each other at various levels of production. It is 40 kilometers west of Manila via Manila Bay and 140 kilometers by land from Manila. It has its own jetty port. The PNOC-AFC Industrial Park has obtained 3 prestigious International Organization for Standardization or ISO certifications in 2009. The PNOC-AFC Industrial Park is the first to be granted with a Programmatic Environmental Compliance Certificate by the DENR.
It has a rated capacity of 750 tons of PCB waste a year. That's the minimum volume that it can process. The types of PCB waste that this facility can treat comes in different forms. It can be in the form of capacitors, pole-mounted transformers, or the so-called substation type transformers.
As host to the non-com POPs facility, assurance of public safety is the main concern of the LGUs.
Ang major concern ng aming mamamayan dito ay yung public safety. At inaasahan po ng mamamayan namin ng Batangas 2 na dahil sa modern naman ngayon ng mga project ng gobyerno at dahil sa mga advanced na teknolohiya ay mas lalo pang magiging safety itong plantang ito.
A concern shared by other stakeholders. Thus, safeguards have been put in place. The PNOC-AFC Industrial Park has its own safety measures.
For the past 12 years that the petrochemical park has been operating, that the safety of the community has been provided with a mechanism, a real multi-party monitoring system has been in operations. One thing we're very much proud of in our during our MMT meetings is the exchange of ideas.
Mahalaga sa aming mga taga-komunidad ang maging bahagi ng monitoring ng proyektong ito. Hindi na kailangan dagdagan ng tao ang...
Ilang isa yung sa NCA Labs. Walang kailangan ng isa.
With the arrival of this POPs facility, destruction facility, the more this has been given emphasis in the monitoring of the environment.
Regular samplings of PCBs, dioxins, and furans from air, water, and soil media will be conducted, and the operation of the facility will be monitored and evaluated to ensure safety and compliance with all environmental regulations.
Indeed, the Non-Com-POPs project is a source of pride for the Filipino people. A unique feature of the Non-Com-POPs project is its strong alliance with the NGOs at the national level, represented by EcoWaste Coalition, Greenpeace Southeast Asia, and Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives. Another is the participation of major stakeholders such as the Manila Electric Company, the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, the National Power Corporation, and the Power Sector Assets and Liabilities Corporation. The project team saw the need to consult and get feedbacks from the surrounding communities. This is another unique feature of the project.
Mahalaga ang tungkulin ng mga NGO sa pamumuno ng Ecowaste Coalition. Una, pagbibigay tinig sa publiko, lalo na sa mga apektadong komunidad, upang masigurado na ang interes nila ay naisasaalang-alang pagpapatupad ng proyekto. Pangalawa, sila ay mas katulong upang mapalaganap at mapalakas yung kanilang partisipasyon sa proyekto. Pangatlo, upang bantayan yung mga PCBs na nagmumula sa mga generators at upang matiyak na mga ito ay hindi na itatapon sa kalikasan at bagkos ay nadadala ng maayos sa ating pasilidad sa Bataan.
More importantly, the people of Bataan were made aware that they are host to a vital facility to contribute to the global effort to end an environmental hazard.
Kami po sa bahagi ng mangisda at sa kasama ng ibang sektor ay buong pusong sumusuporta sa proyektong ito ng pamahalaan na matugunan ang pangkalikasan at pangkalusugan na usapin hinggil sa kimikal na PCB sa pamaraang ligtas at makakalikasan.
So in the first phase of our operation, we are going to decontaminate all the existing PCB in the country. And most of these PCBs are in our transformer, electrical transformer being used by our electric company, by private corporations. And our target date of accomplishing this project for PCBs is for year 2014.
Meanwhile, those awaiting decommissioning should also be scheduled for destruction. Various industries in the private sector should be made aware of this goal, because their cooperation is vital to the success of this project.
They should have a program to treat and dispose of their waste not later than March 19, 2014. The participation of the generators will assure us that all PCB stockpiles will be destroyed in a safe and ecological manner.
The list of the chemicals that's supposed to be eliminated is increasing. We started with 12 chemicals and now we are approaching 21 chemicals that would be listed.
We only have one world where we live, and it is our commitment, our responsibility to the next generation of Filipinos that it will be safe for them to live in.
No more excuses, for much is at stake. No less than the health of our people, of peoples of other nations, and everything that lives and breathes on this planet, our Mother Earth.
We would like to thank GAF and UNIDO for making this project possible.
There's no one else but us who can sow the seeds of change. The harvest will be plenty. One good deed is all it takes. There's no one else but us who can set each other free. We just come together. What a world this will